Russia has resorted to recruiting inmates from women's prisons to serve in the Russian military in a bid to make up for its growing losses in Ukraine, according to both Ukrainian officials and an independent Russian prisons watchdog.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russia has resorted to recruiting inmates from women's prisons to serve in the Russian military in a bid to make up for its growing losses in Ukraine, according to both Ukrainian officials and an independent Russian prisons watchdog. Last week, a train with sleeping cars for the transfer of prisoners was spotted moving towards the Donetsk region. One of the cars had female convicts in it. Ukraine's defense ministry said in an update published on Monday. Olga Romanova, the co-founder of prisoners' rights organization Russia Behind Bars, confirmed the ministry's claims to independent news outlet iStories, noting that Russia had likely been using female prisoners to aid its invasion efforts since at least the end of last year. They were taken from penal colonies in southern Russia. I don't know the exact ones, but they worked in Kushchevka, Romanova told iStories. As many as 100 female prisoners are believed to have been transferred to fight in Ukraine so far, according to the human rights defender, though it remains unclear if the recruitment was carried out on a voluntary basis or whether the inmates had been press-ganged into the Russian military. In February, Ukrainian military officials said that Russia had recruited as many as 50 female prisoners from a penal colony in the Russia-occupied city of Snizhnya in Ukraine's Donetsk region. The recruits were sent for training in Russia before being returned to Ukraine to fight, they said.
This post received a score of 8,200, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Guess Wagner already took all the male prisoners.
They are now recruiting school kids since the block on prisoners.
Yup. Directly from high schools and youth clubs. Unclear though how many Russian teenagers have submitted applications of a young warrior.
Wow, it took Germany a few years to get to Hitlerjugend enlistment. Russia's really speedrunning this war.
To be fair, Russia's demographics today are way worse than Germany's were in 1939.
Explain. Thanks for all the explains.
The Russian fertility rate today is around 1.5 per woman, which is far lower than the 3 they had during WW2. Not to mention the fertility rate has been awful since the early 1990s.
Would you say that's because of the Afghanistan-Soviet War, then the subsequent Chechen wars, Georgia, then Syria? Then added with a reduction of men and economy throughout those years, with Putin slightly better.
I would say it was really because of the economic collapse of the Soviet Union. The massive fall in the standard of living during the 1990s caused the fertility rate to plunge, and it has never recovered.
Ah yes, unleash a large number of women to a horde of male prisoners in a lawless environment. This can only end well. Horrific.
Horrifically, that's probably actually the plan. The women from the prisons won't be there to actually fight. They are there for the men. They'll be measured as a morale-increasing statistic.
This freaks me out as potentially turning into an unofficial, comfort women, system.
Could be like the French brothel battalions.
You what?
Google it. I shit you not. The French had deployable brothels. Last one was disbanded in 1995. Foreign Legion still had one in Djibouti till 2003. Young offender institutes next. Then the naughty step in preschools.
Teachers are pressured to give you detention just so you could be recruited.
Should have colored inside the lines. That kind of messiness has consequences.
Imagine getting drafted by a government that lets your spouse beat you once a year.
Once a year? Aha, that's funny. In Russia it's much more frequent.
Yeah, but legally, once a year, with a fine.
Greater than Tuesday the 7th of February. And this law was just in time for Valentine's Day. So which one is it this year, flowers or belt? Belt for you, then sunflowers for me. Joke's on you, I'm into that.
We don't kink shame here, so that's a plus.
I, too, have a sunflower kink.
What a horrid fucking pathetic country.
What a horrid fucking pathetic mob-run gas station.
Orange is the New Black. Only on Netflix.
As I understand it, soon they will start putting people in prisons just to replenish the supply of prisoners. Look what Russia done to Ukraine. These are 2 days ago footages from Bucha and Irpin.
We made this vid with my father.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.